You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Ladies, if you haven't already, you are welcome to subscribe to my ladies only channel, Mocha's Ladies Lounge. That is a safe haven in which only the women come together and congregate. But this is my original channel in which I started out, and this is my co-ed channel for men and women, to follow, a safe haven for everybody to be able to share your opinions and comment and feel like you're in a safe space in which you're not going to be ridiculed or casted out or mistreated because you have a difference in opinion. But y'all, let's get into this right away, and go ahead and hit the like button, because you may get so into the content that you may forget to hit the likes. So please, if y'all don't mind, hit that like button for me. Like, share, subscribe. It helps to get in the algorithms. I would appreciate it. So let me get into this, right? Any of y'all who've been following me for quite some time know that I am a former correctional officer. I did corrections for like 3 years. And I explained to y'all and I shared with y'all my journey and how stressful and overwhelming it was in that type of profession. And I like to say thank you, Lord, for delivering me from having to do that type of job. But big ups to all those in law enforcement who is still having the strength to hang in there, because it is not a job, unfortunately, these days that is really respected. But nevertheless, y'all, talking about this inmate who gets jumped in the cell for unaliving a gang member's brother. Now, this is not uncommon, unfortunately, whenever it comes to a prison or a jail. But either way, 9 times out of 10, a lot of these guys don't realize that when you have been convicted of a crime, and if that crime resulted in the murder, in the unaliving, I'm out to make sure, I'm out to edit that out. But anyway, whenever an inmate has been convicted of unaliving, taking the life of another individual, more than likely he's going to be given a lengthy life sentence, okay? And in the midst of that, depending on where he is transported, which prison or correctional facility, there's a very slight chance that he is going to run into his ops, okay? In whom is the cause for why he is having to serve time in the first place. If not the ops directly, you may indirectly run into the relatives of the ops in whom life you took in or attempted to take. Okay? So it's a very slim chance you're going to run into your ops. If not your ops, you're going to run into your ops people. Let's face it, unfortunately, the statistics in prison is very as a high rate statistic, because a lot of the individuals who face doing time for crime, most of them are either related, they all come from the same neighborhood, they all were born and raised in the same hood, and unfortunately, a lot of them have the same mindset within the community. And let's just face it, this is a part of the black community. Gun violence, black on black crime, this is a part of the black community. As much as we like to stress about Black Lives Matter, but the problem is black lives don't matter to black lives. And that is the biggest issue. And how are we going to stand together and for something as far as anytime there's police brutality, or where you have these George Zimmerman situations in which there's some injustice that is done to one of our own kind, and yet people like that, they get grace. But when it comes to our own kind, we don't spare each other any grace. We will take each other out without a question of a doubt. You know, and that's just something that the black community is cursed with. And as much as we go on to stop the violence movements, even though, you know, Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and so many people have, you know, sacrificed their lives to get us to a place in which we have the right to finally be treated as other, you know, races. We're still not taking it into consideration how many people have had to lose their lives in order for us to have the things that we have today. But enough with the, you know, if only I had a dream, you know, I had a dream, you know, speech, because let's just face it, you know, we're in a world where people really don't value that as much these days, right? You know, so shout out to Martin Luther King and all of the other black activists who fought for us to be able to stand together, Malcolm X and everybody else. But anyway, let's get into it, right? So this was going on with the situation. An inmate, unfortunately, ran his mouth too soon. And obviously either he's young, dumb, or he doesn't understand how prison politics work. And you have to be able to read the room and understand when somebody's questioning you about something. It's a reason they're questioning you for that. However, I do have the footage that I'm going to be sharing with y'all momentarily, in which this guy obviously thought he was going to get brownie points by bragging and basically, you know, puffing his chest out about how he unalived another young man. And neither did he know they were questioning him for a reason, and him not having any discernment or common sense, he so willingly was open to admitting and even stating the name and whom the person who he unalived, not understanding that the person that questioned him was the victim's family member. It was the victim's brother. Anyway, things go totally left when he admits to the real reason as to why, you know, he got incarcerated. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and play the video. I want y'all to see for yourself how things totally go left when he confesses to this. Keep in mind, this is viewers' discretion advised. If you have little ones, you have children that are in the room, before I play this footage, I would advise you to pause this video. That way, you know, out of respect, the little ones are not in the same room before we play this content, before I play this footage, because the event that's transpiring is very, very violent and is very, very adult content strong. So I don't recommend children that are not old enough to understand how this type of situation works. I would recommend that you don't allow them to see this. However, if you have a nephew, a son, a brother who's wilding out, he's heavy into the gang life, and he's not thinking about his future, this may be something you might want to share with him, okay, or her, because we do got women who also are in gangs as well. This is just a real reminder that prison is not all of what it's cracked up to be. And although, you know, community likes to glorify and make these young men believe that once they get to prison, they're going to get the same respect, the same street cred that they got in the streets, you got to keep in mind, you're going to be incarcerated and placed and assigned into a correctional facility in which you can very well end up sharing the same space with your ops, or with the same people that's going to help you be dealt with for maybe some street retaliation in which the streets wasn't able to get to you first before you got incarcerated. And now, since there was no street justice, they're going to earn the street justice in prison by making you pay for whatever scores of bad dealings you left out there. But anyway, let's play the footage And again, viewer discretion advised. This content is alleged. I'm using this video used to fair use for educational purposes, to make the black community be aware of we have to make better choices in life so we don't end up in a situation. I'm definitely against violence. I do not support violence, and nor would I promote violence. But what I will do is promote why imperative it is that we don't get involved in situations that land us in prison in the first place. So let's get right into it, y'all.
Oh shit, nigga, you smoking some Kill Bill Doty shit. Who? Say Lord? Yeah. What about Say Lord? You pop Say Lord? No, what's Say Lord? Say Lord. You don't know what it is? Say Lord, play? No, when you pop your brother. No, hell no. What you popping for? No, that's talking about my bros from Joker film. Yeah. Yeah. When you popped your little brother. Dre. What happened with that? Nigga, that was a nigga named Dre. No, you. Bro, I been like that shit happened to one. Who? Let's get this paid for that shit. What's that, man? What for what? Let's get this paid, man. Hey man, it's over with. Oh shit. What you doing, my little brother?
Alright, y'all. Now, I want to pause this, right? And again, I know this was a lot to watch. It was a lot to absorb. Very, very unpleasant situation. But this is the harsh reality of prison and how things work out here. I want to play it again, just so I can kind of break down a little bit as to what's going on, because it's a very short clip and everything transpired so fast, and I damn near had to watch it a couple of times so I can figure out what's going on. And I don't want to replay it 3, 4, 5 times, so I'm just going to play it a second time, but I'm going to slow-mo and pause so y'all can kind of see what's going on, right? So getting back into it as I go back, basically, dude is sitting in the cell, you know, and he's comfortably chopping it up, and that is what these inmates do. You know, once they all have their mindset on the prey or op, they set him up to become comfortable, so he'll let his guard down. So I'm not sure what transpired to make him comfortable to come in that cell. I'm not sure if that is his cell or if there's somebody else's cell, and you know, they invited him over there, but for whatever reason, you can tell he's comfortable. He's not expecting what's about to go down, right? But I wanted to point out a couple of pointers as to make y'all aware that this guy obviously, he does not understand how prison or how this crab in a barrel mentality works whenever you're incarcerated. How you need to be proactive when it comes to danger. And I think this guy was either really young, slow, or cocky, and just was so full of himself that he really didn't think he had to protect himself or pay attention to what was going on around him. Okay, so he's sitting there in the cell, he's chopping it up, and you know, that's what ninjas do whenever they're incarcerated. They talk about what they did before they got locked up, or the reason why they got locked up, which is very imperative that you are selective with the information that you share, because a lot of these ninjas is not letting you tell your story because they really want to get to know you. They want to know if you have done anything to someone whom they probably have an alliance or some type of connection with. So when you're in jail running your mouth, yeah, I know JJ from down the street. Oh, how you know JJ? This, that. So basically, he's comfortable. He's, you know, he's sitting in his element. They smoke a little weed, whatever the case is. So that's how it's starting off.
On the set, nigga, you smoking some Kill Bill Doty shit.
What's up with this shit with Taylor Lux?
Who?
You and Taylor Lux?
Say Lord.
Yeah.
What about Say Lord?
You pop Taylor?
No, what's Say Lord?
Taylor Lux.
Now, 1 second. We're going to pause right here. So, notice the inmate that's questioning them saying, hey, you know a Salo? Did you pop a Salo? In other words, did you unalive? Did you, you know what I'm saying? Did you bang at some dude named Salo? Of course, he's like, nah, I don't even know Salo. Not even understanding they setting them up for the kill. They're basically asking him and making it seem like they're trying to insinuate that they know he has something to do with shooting in which they made up, because that is their way of getting him comfortable to say who he did indeed bang at, right? Okay, bang bang. Y'all know I got to use certain words. YouTube is very sensitive. Okay, so basically they asked him a quick question, and he's not reading the room. You know what I mean? And just pay attention to how adamant he is and trying to prove I don't even know that dude. And they intentionally, it's a mind thing, it's a mental thing. They wanted him to be so adamant about this guy they made up because they wanted him to feel comfortable in saying who he did bang bang. Okay? Now if you notice, as they're questioning him, one of the dudes here, he's getting ready to get up and exit. This called reading the room. While all of a sudden, while you're being questioned from this guy, one of the guys are getting ready to leave. You know what I'm saying? He's getting up and he's leaving. So that's a red flag. Something is about to go down, because most inmates will tell you when they have already got a plan and they're getting ready to put the beat down or whatever on somebody, they tell whoever is in that cell, even if that cell belongs to them, they tell you, you better remove yourself from the situation because it got nothing to do with you. Or we gonna get down on you too. That don't try to make it make sense. We're talking about prison politics. So even if you are assigned to a cell, if your roomie who's assigned in that cell has said or did something foul and they put the word to you, we coming in there to handle business, you better have your ASS out of that cell or you going to get the business too. That's how it works in there. Or if you're going to stick around, you're going to jump in and help be part of the beat down. Okay, so this guy, he understands the assignment. He understands this dude is about to get his behind whooped. And I don't want to be nowhere in it, or either in many instances, like they state, because the cells are very small, they need room to be able to beat a person up, to assault a person. So a lot of times, other inmates that are in that cell that know another inmate is about to get beat down, out of respect, he's removing himself from the situation. That way there's more room in the cell in order for business to get dealt with, right? So those are the two reasons why other inmates will leave a cell that maybe they're assigned to. Because for one, that's a respect thing. That's a prison politics. When we coming for your roommate, you can't be in the room when we handle business. Or two, we need room to be able to do what we need to do, and space is very limited in these cells, so they know automatically to move out the way. Any officer that's a real officer will pay attention to stuff like this. Anytime you got too many inmates gathered up at one cell or too many of them coming out, something is up. But we all know these jails, these prisons, they don't have enough officers to keep up with the shit show that be going on. But just pay attention to that. I had to pause and let y'all see that. So this guy is leaving because he knows something about to come up.
You don't know what it is?
Salo, Lady.
No, you popped your brother.
No, hell no.
What you popping for?
No, they talking about my bros from Joker film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you popped your little brother.
Dre.
What happened with that?
Nigga, that was a nigga named Dre.
No, you.
Bro, I been like that shit happened to one. Who?
Let's get this paid for that shit.
What's that, man? What for what?
Okay, so we're going to pause right here. So he confirmed it. Okay, he took the bait and they gave him a false name. And again, that was so they could get the real name. And he confirmed it. Nah, that wasn't Soul. That was Dre. That was Dre who I put the bang bang on. That was all they needed. They just needed that confirmation. And now he sees, because from sitting where he's sitting at, there's a group of ninjas. So he's seeing, but it's too late. You know what I mean? He's seeing that he's about to get it. And that's why you see him putting his weed or with a cigarette down, whatever. Because he knows at this point, these ninjas done played me. They asked me that, and I talked too soon, ran my mouth. Now they about to put the stomp down on me. So we'll continue. Notice dude who was sitting on the bed, he's in it too. Notice dude who left the room with the brown pants on, he's in it too. Talking about grimy, dude, let me tell you something. Y'all think women is grimy. Nothing more grimy to black men than other black men. Y'all are each other's own worst enemy. They set him up, set their cool, calm, collective, knowing what was going on. We shall continue. Everybody throwing bowls. Everybody throwing bowls. Okay. He's defenseless at this point. Call it what y'all want. Man, you know, you should have been 101. You know, that ain't right. Why they jumping this man? Listen, you done took somebody's brother life out there. It's easy to have sympathy for people in this situation, but had it been your son, had it been your brother, I'm sure you would think different.
Hey man, something with it. Oh shit. What you doing, my little brother?
Alright, y'all. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm just thinking we've seen enough of that. So getting back to the point at hand, you know what I mean? We can look at this several ways. You know, it's automatic. Some people gonna look at it like, well, damn, that's low, that's dirty. Why it took 5 of them to beat this man up, tag team or hurt him? But you got to realize he took somebody's life out there. You get what I'm saying? Secondly, prison ain't about what's fair, and prison ain't never been about what's right. Prison, they got their own rules, whether if you agree with it or not. That's just the way that culture is established. The prison culture, they don't operate like the streets. They operate similarly to the streets. But for the most part, that is what they do. You know, you have to realize when you're housed in that type of environment, you're going to be around gang members. So when you violate one, you violate many. Okay, so even those dudes that you probably been cool with, you probably done shared your commissary with, you probably done gave them a couple of phone calls. The moment you violate one of their own, they gonna stand for what's theirs. So guarantee you, him sitting in that cell, he was friends with 1 or 2 of those guys. And I clearly showed y'all how the one who was sitting on the bunk and sitting there calmly listening to him talk probably was one of the ones who lured him in there, because keep in mind, they were sitting in there with them before the other guy came in there interrogating them and questioning them. So they knew what was going down, you know, and they basically manipulated the guy and tricked him and made him feel comfortable coming in that cell, knowing all along they was in on what was going to go down. Even the one who got up and left, he got up and left just to come right back in, you know what I'm saying? So he can, you know, join in the fun, you know, with the alliance and be part of the beatdown festivities, right? So the actuality, the reality of this whole situation is, listen, when you do crimes or when you take lives of other people in them streets, and you've been handed a sentence from the judge, you got life, or you got to do 25 to 30 years, keep in mind it's not over. You know, your troubles are just beginning, because the prison in which they may be sending you, you very well can run into your ops there. You know, like I said earlier, if not your ops, people who are aware of your ops and deal with your ops. You know, once you're in prison, none of what you did in the street, it really don't matter. You know what I mean? You could have 20, 30 bodies, you know, and you may have some type of, you know, you may have a little bit of rank, you know, because of what you're in there for. But the thing about it is you don't have the same protection in the streets like you had in the prison. So you may have had more respect in the streets because you have more protection in the streets. You're not going to have access to that same protection. Everything in prison is a totally different atmosphere. You can get shanked in there, which basically means stabbed to death. You can get beat to death in there. You can get raped. You know, you can get unalived. You know, it's so many things, you know, that can happen when you're in that type of environment. And like I said, dude did not know the rules to the game. You got to be careful going around here giving people exact names or who you unalived. What was wrong with, you know, man, what you in here for? Man, I unalived some dude named JoJo. Make up a name. You know, or if they really know the real deal, because believe it or not, you in some instances you really can't even get away with lying, because sometimes these officers, they run their mouth. Especially if you done pissed off an officer and they kind of want you to get the beat down and they know that they can't do it, they'll rat you out. You know, you got a lot of officers that are just corrupt, if not more corrupt than the inmates. So 9 times out of 10, you know, that's another thing you have to consider. Even if you were to lie, they probably already know the truth. Somebody probably already got a hold of your paperwork. That's why even as an inmate, when you have paperwork laying around with your charges, every time you leave your room, your cell, and you go do rec, somebody probably going through your paperwork. They want to know what you're in there for. Especially if you're kind of secretive or they feel like you're being dishonest. They got all day in prison to interrogate and look into everything you say. They can make calls to people on the outside. Hey, there's this nigga in here locked up named Al Johnson, man. You know of him? Do you know him from the streets? Do he got another name he go by? You know, and don't let it be a high profile case in which you're on the news. But in instances like that, most of the time they try to put them in protective custody, but that's not always the case. People, in other words, these inmates got a way of finding out what you're really there for. And the thing is, in this case, they already knew. They already knew. They was just questioning him and wanting him to confirm it. Just so that was their way of letting him know, this is why you getting us beat down today. Because you crossed the wrong path when you mess with one of our people. When you came for one of our people. So in a sense, they questioned him because they wanted him to know. Oh, well, you did? Oh, so you went banging at Dre. Well, you know Dre, that's my brother. That's my people. And I knew, and I'm sure once he connected the dots and realized the guy he unalived, he was being confronted by his brother. He immediately wanted to shit himself. I'm surprised he didn't go to the bathroom on himself right then and there. A lot of these dudes, they grimy. They very, very grimy. You got no friends in prison, my man. I don't know why he was not aware of that. I'm not sure what made him feel comfortable putting his guard down. But you got a lot of dudes that do big crimes, and then when it's time to go to the big house, they don't know the politics. They don't know. I'm not talking about the prison policy rules as far as the pamphlet that they give you about how many phone calls you can make a day and how much commissary you can make a month. I'm not talking about the prison rules. I'm talking about, you know, the gang rules, the prison politics. This dude could not have known. You don't sit up there and confess to taking somebody out. You don't know. This world is smaller than what we think. You don't know who. You don't know who's related to who, especially in prison. A lot. These prisons are getting so overcrowded. They can't really separate gangs from other gangs. It's getting harder and harder to do. Even at the time when I was working at the county jail, we tried so hard to separate people from their ops, because we want to try to keep fights in the jail down to a minimum. We wanted to keep officer safety down to a minimum. So we would always have to space out and categorize and break these gang members up and put them in different units, put them in different rooms. But sometimes it will become so overcrowded that we wasn't able to do that. Sometimes we had to house them all together, which is a triple threat of safety to the inmates, and most importantly to the officers who have to mind them, who have to be in supervision over them. So the chances of being transported to these prisons and running into these same individuals who are related or have gang ties with the guy that you unalive, that's a very high probability. So what's going to end up happening? Usually in cases like this, few things going to happen. One thing is, he can just take the beat down and ask for nurse assistance, and nurse will come, patch him up, something like that. 9 times out of 10, the officer is going to know that he got physically assaulted. So either he's going to A, tell who did it, which would be basically like signing away his life. If he snitches and tells who did it, there's no way he can stay in that same unit. And more than likely, they're not going to let him remain in that same unit if he makes the choice to snitch and name all of the inmates who played a part in his attack. So if he snitches, they'll definitely unalive him. So most likely, the jail is going to remove him to probably PC. Okay, if he decides to snitch. So we'll go to snitch. We'll go to snitch route. If he decide to snitch, most likely they're gonna get him up out of there. Okay, they're gonna put him in PC protective custody. And the only thing about protective custody, it is great that you're by yourself and you don't have to worry about anybody else physically assaulting you, sexually assaulting you, or anything. The thing about it is, if you get caught at the wrong place at the wrong time anywhere, and an officer gets sloppy and leave you somewhere where it's inmates that are unsupervised, they're going to take your life. Because snitching is a no-no. Snitching on another inmate or several inmates, that is signing a death sentence. That's if he chooses to snitch. Okay, and tell. Alright. Secondly, he may decide not to snitch, which would probably be his best route. And most likely, they'll ask him what happened, because they're going to see him coming out the room effed up, limping, bloody nose, all kind of, bruises in his face or whatever. They're going to know he got his ass whooped. So most likely they're going to ask him what happened. If he decides to go to the no snitch way, which is what most inmates do in this situation, unless it's just obvious, right? If it's 2 inmates in one room and nobody else was in there, and the next morning that inmate come out with a big old face and swole up, 9 times out of 10, you'll know that who did it, because it was only one other person who was around that inmate. But in this instance, they're not going to be able to pinpoint that. So if he says it just happened, what you mean it just happened? You're not going to give us any names? No, it just happened. If he decides not to snitch, they're still going to remove him, most likely, because being attacked by multiple people, that's a high risk. So they're going to remove him either way it goes. But if he decides to do the no snitch, he may decide he still want to be in general population, because they're going to give him the option to say, hey, do you want protective custody? 9 times out of 10, he's probably not going to choose protective custody, because protective custody is hella boring. We're talking about you only out for 1 hour out of 24 hours. You're in a room by yourself. No one to talk to. It makes your time harder and longer. You can't play cards with anyone. There's no TV. It's just very miserable. You got to have a certain type of strength to really be able to deal with isolation. It's no joke. because you're alone by yourself. You start counting tiles on the floor, counting the cracks in the walls. I mean, your mind slowly will fade in places like that. You can only read but so many books. You can only exercise but so many times, do but so many push-ups. It really wears you thin. Isolation is a slow. It's like being in a grave, like your boy Diddy right now. He's in a grave. Basically, isolation is just a different form of being in a grave. Only difference is you're alive. You can actually breathe. It's the same thing. Just like a grave, you're in. Once the good Lord calls you home and you get buried in a box and they throw the dirt on you and you no longer exist. That's pretty much how isolation works. Only difference is you do exist. You exist as far as your number, as a prisoner, as an inmate. But other than that, the purpose is the same. That is your final resting place. And that's a slow death if you ask me. Because you're basically existing but you're not living. If that makes sense. So he can take the route to do general population. Because most of them refuse to do they refuse to do PC. But if you're a high profile celebrity like Diddy, or if you a major threat, like you took the life of a well known banger in your community and your face has shown all over the news, they know they're not going to put you in general pop. But anyway, he can choose that route and go to general pop, but hopefully somebody in general pop don't find out where he was prior and don't finish up the job. So that's still dangerous, because soon as the word gets around, he's not in Unit A anymore, because in Unit A, he confessed to unaliving Dre and Dre big brother, let's call him Mr. Gangbang, who put the beat down on him along with all his other gangbang minions, which caused him to have to be transferred. Who's to say the word ain't gonna get to where he's going at? Oh, I find out why he here. He here because he unalive Big Dre, little brother Dre, and had to beat him down. Yeah, man. Yeah, we got to put in work too. We roll with Big Dre. So wherever he goes, somebody else may still be willing to put in work and finish him off. Either way, it's very dangerous at this point. And this is why a lot of young black men have to understand. Prison is not a badge of honor. It's all fun and games, because in the back of your mind, you think you're going to be able to get up with your homeboys in the streets who done got sentenced and locked up before you. Y'all to get to catch up on old times. Think y'all going to look out for each other and have these big old commissary feasts, and you just live it up and enjoy your best life. You don't know what you're going to encounter when you get over there. It'd be just your luck in prison. They house you with somebody that's a rapist. That's a Lester. You know what I mean? You don't know what you're getting up against. Or worst case scenario, somebody who like you took, they put you in the same unit with your ops or with your ops people. Then what? You could tell this man was screaming for his life. Everybody was taking turns getting it in, pounding them, beating them. Now, hopefully, because we didn't see we don't know what else happened. Hopefully, they didn't take the manhood. When you vulnerable like that and you in that kind of pain, it's always some other dude that'll take it to the next level. They'll up the ante. Next thing you notice, they yanking your shorts off of you, bending you over, and ramming you like you're a damn horse somewhere. Hopefully it didn't escalate to that, and hopefully it won't escalate to that, because you're talking about a whole new level of embarrassment. Talking about a humiliation ritual. Prison don't have no rules. It's not like, okay, we'll do this to him, but we're not going to do that. Every prison is different, and even in a prison, every unit is different. The last jail I worked at, The jail itself was the same, but every unit was different. What inmates allowed in Unit 3, they didn't allow it in Unit 4. They didn't allow it. Unit 5 may have been a little bit more laid back because that's where the old heads, the guys who done been there for a long time, who just want to serve their time peacefully. Compared to Unit 3 with the wild gangbanger dudes who up all time of night, 4 or 5 in the morning, beating on the door, rapping, laughing, cutting up, whatever, you know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff you up against, you feel me? But yeah, y'all, it's a sad situation, y'all, but at the end of the day, he brought it on himself, man. You can't be doing stuff out here in the streets and think it's not going to catch up with you, thinking it's over and done with. You think because you done took somebody's life, you could just move on now. You know what I mean? You done did you done banged that person, took their life, and you thinking all you got to do is serve your time and you can just move on and you good. Well, it doesn't work that way. You get what I'm saying? You go in there, you still got some debts that got to be paid. Just because you're not in the streets anymore and you serving your time, it does not mean that you're going to be able to serve your time peacefully. You don't know who's there waiting to finish off, whatever it is that, what I'm saying, that wasn't dealt with. You don't know who's going to make you answer for that when you get incarcerated. So anyway, y'all, leave y'all opinion below. Hit that like button. Let me know what y'all think about this, man. What do y'all think about the situation? Do you think it was less of those inmates to all come together and attack this dude? Or do you think he deserved it? Because he took somebody else's life out there and he came into jail running his mouth, letting it be known, puffing his chest out like he proud that he took somebody's life, only to realize that it was just a setup to make him comfortable so he get the beat down. What's y'all intake on this? What's y'all opinion? I would like to know. Anyway, y'all, please hit that like button on the way out. It's your girl, your diva of knowledge, Lady Mocha. Represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. I will talk to y'all soon. Be blessed.